What up, Woodies? Welcome back to another episode of Vaporwood. Kennard here, and today, coming at you with a hardware review, we are taking a look at the Guardian 1.5 by Dovpo.
What up, YouTube? Welcome to Vaporwood!
Alright, folks, welcome back to another episode of Vaporwood. Thank you so much for tuning in. It's a pleasure to be with you today, checking out the Guardian 1.5 by Dovpo. Not a bad little box. On a separate note, for those of you that have been here before, you see the camera angle's a little different. I've been doing the review thing for a little over a year now, and I thought maybe it was time for a change. Maybe change up the background, change up the camera angle. Let me know down in the comments down below what you guys think. If you like the camera angle, what you'd like to see, anything like that. Go ahead, leave it in the comments down below. But yeah, like I said, today we are checking out this Dovpo Guardian 1.5 150 watt regulated box mod. It also does temperature control for nickel wire. It's not a bad box, folks, but let's get right to it. Let's go up close. Let's get up in them guts of the Dovpo Guardian 1.5. Alright, you guys, here we are up close with the Dovpo Guardian 1.5. Let's go ahead and go over some features and specifications before we get into all the nitty-gritty. The Dovpo Guardian 1.5 is made of a zinc alloy construction covered in a rubberized finish. It is a dual 18650 device with an OLED display screen. The wattage range is from 3 watts to 150 watts. The temperature range is from 200 degrees Fahrenheit to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. The resistance range in temperature mode is 0.1 to 1.0 ohms. In power mode, the resistance range is 0.1 to 3.0 ohms. And in power mode, you can use Kanthal wire, and in temperature mode, you can use Ni200 nickel wire. As you can see, the rubberized finish here, you see a little bit of juice on there. That's all right. It's kind of hard to wipe that off once you get a little bit of juice on there. It just kind of leaves a little smudge. What you see is a C-frame design. You have your rounded side here. It's not just like a box like we're used to. This is where your hand will curve around it. It fits in there pretty nicely. The ridges help with grip. Here is your 510 connection. It is spring loaded. Here is the bottom where your batteries will go. You see you have 6 holes for battery venting. You have this switch in the middle. It says lock and unlock. You got to flip that to take it off. The device will not fire unless this switch is in the lock position. So you slide that right out of there. Now on the bottom of this, you'll see clearly marked your positive and your negative for your batteries. This is a series device, so one positive up, one positive down, or one negative up, one negative down, depending on your philosophical view in life. And here is the inside of your battery compartment. Pretty standard stuff. Just go ahead and pop these batteries back in. Like I said, right here shows you negative and positive. So negative up, positive up, slide it back on, flip the switch to the lock position, and you're ready to check out the menu and start vaping. Alright guys, here is your screen. We're going to try to do this as best we can. This screen is mirrored, as you can see my camera and my lights in there. But we're going to try to do this, try to show you this the best we can. There you go. You see the screen is relatively bright, but it is mirrored, so in certain conditions it's going to be hard to see. Over here on the top you have your resistance. Underneath that you have your voltage, followed by your amps, and then on the very bottom is a puff counter. These here are your up and down buttons to control your wattage. You hold it and it scrolls up. And it's very slow. But it goes all the way up to 150 watts, and once you get to the max wattage, it will say maximum. It does not round robin. And it goes all the way down to 3 watts. I'm not going to go all the way back down. That's a waste of your time to show you how slow that scrolls. Now, to switch to temperature mode, you're going to click the fire button 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And it switches to temperature mode. And the same functions. You'll be able to scroll up and down your temperature with these buttons here. 1, 2, 3, back to wattage mode. And there's an unfortunate thing. It will always go back to 3 watts when you switch modes. So you will always have to put your wattage back up to where it's supposed to be when switching between modes, which is definitely a pain in the ass. Alright guys, that's pretty much it for the up close, the up in the guts for the Dovpo Guardian 1.5. One thing I do want to mention, in temperature mode there is no resistance lock. So that is definitely a con. I don't think I mentioned it in the cons. That's definitely a con. There is no resistance lock for your nickel wire. But yeah, like I said, that's pretty much it for the Dovpo Guardian 1.5 for the up in them guts section. Let's go ahead, back on out. We'll get them pros and cons, the final thoughts, and we'll get on out of here. All right, folks, there you have it. The up close, the ins and outs, the guts of the Dovpo Guardian 1.5. Not a bad little box, guys. Not a bad little box. Let's dive right into it. Let's get the pros and cons, the final thoughts, and get on out of here. Alright guys, pro number one is definitely the finish on here. This rubberized finish is really, really nice. I haven't had it flake off at all. It's very grippy. The most important thing, it's comfortable. Very comfortable to hold in your hand. Although it is a slightly heavy device, it's very comfortable in the hand. Once you get used to it, you don't notice the weight anymore. So yeah, the first pro is definitely the rubberized finish. All right, you guys, second pro, spring-loaded 510 connection, so you're going to have pretty much no problem with any of your addies or your tanks on here. They're going to make good connection, and they're going to fire the way they're supposed to. And the third pro for me is I really like this battery compartment here, which I showed you in the up close with the locking feature on there. It will not fire until that switch is pressed into the lock position. I like that feature quite a bit. Also, there's no rattle in that battery compartment whatsoever, and I think that has to do with that extra locking feature. So good job on that. All right, guys, let's hit these cons. First con is this display, guys. It's kind of mirrored, and so sometimes in certain lighting, it's hard to see what's going on that screen. Not to mention, it's a fingerprint magnet. Con number two, I don't know where it's coming in from, but if you over drip or you get juice on this thing, somehow or another, it does make it inside there. I've had my batteries come out of this wet. Also, if you get a little bit of juice that runs down this seam here, it runs right down onto that screen and gets in all the crevices and whatnot, and I have found it to be a pain in the ass to get the juice off of this screen. And I'm trying to show you, you won't be able to see it. See how mirrored that finish is? You can see my camera in it. But there is a little dot of juice that got behind the screen somehow. It's right there by the W for the watts. I have no clue how the hell that juice got in there. It doesn't move. It just sits right there. It hasn't evaporated or anything like that. I'm going to have to take it apart and try to clean it and see if I can get it out of there. But yeah, so that's definitely a con. Juice gets inside somehow. I'm not sure if it's through the 510 or through the battery compartment or through this seam. I'm not really sure, guys, but it's definitely a con. Juice gets inside somehow. All right, guys, and the last con is this thing shuts off. It doesn't go into sleep mode or anything like that. It literally shuts off after a minute or two of sitting there. So when I vape, when I'm sitting here at home vaping, working on videos, whatever, I'll hit it a couple times and I'll set it down and I'll go back to whatever I'm doing and go to pick it up and hit the button and nothing happens. And you have to 5-click, push it on, wait for the Dovpo thing to come across the screen. And here's the kicker. Sometimes it remembers the wattage and sometimes it doesn't. When you swap your batteries out, it definitely doesn't remember the wattage. But when you shut this thing off and turn it back on, sometimes it goes back down to 3 watts. And as I showed you in the up close, the scrolling for the wattage is very slow. So I go to pick up my vape and vape it. It doesn't work. I got to turn it on. I got to wait for the Dovpo screen. And then sometimes I have to take the wattage way back up to where I like to vape, around 75, 80 watts. So, I mean, for me, I got to pick it up and I got to wait like 2 minutes to have a vape, which really, when you say it like that, doesn't seem like a big deal, but it's a big annoyance. It's you pick your mod up and you let out a sigh, you know, while you're waiting for everything to get set back up. So that is definitely a big con. Dovpo, you guys need to fix that for sure. Make the scrolling faster. And make it so the device just goes to sleep when you set it down. Don't make it shut off all the way completely. You have to turn it back on every time you pick it up. That's annoying as all hell, guys. All right, let's get them big cheesy graphics out, guys. You know what time it is. It's time for them final thoughts. Final thoughts on the Dovpo Guardian 1.5. Overall, guys, it's really not a bad device. Temp control works, does what it's supposed to do. Wattage mode works, it does what it's supposed to do. It feels really nice in the hand. There is a slight delay on the vape, so that's another con that I didn't mention in the cons, but I'll mention it here. There is a delay when you hit the button. That's a good half a second, almost a second delay on that, so that's another con. But overall, it's really not a bad box. Does 150 watts, does your temp control for just nickel, so you don't have titanium or anything like that. For what it is, it's really not bad. And if you can get it at a cheaper price, then I say go ahead and go for it. I have a website that will be listed up on the screen here. I've never ordered from them, so I don't know how your experience is going to be. So what I'm going to do, down in the description down below, there's going to be 2 websites where you can go pick this up and check it out for yourself if you want. The first website has it for like 50 bucks. And I found that through Vaping Cheap, so you know how those Vaping Cheap deals go. Sometimes they don't work the way they're supposed to. But it's like 50 or 55 bucks through Vaping Cheap on the website that I found, which, let me check real quick, is esig.com. So like I said, I've never ordered from there, but if, you know, it looks like a decent website. If you're feeling brave, go ahead and order it. It is $53 on the esig.com website. But everywhere else that I have found it at, you know, the bigger websites, your vaporbeast.com, for instance, has this for $99.95. Now, with that in mind, would I want to pay $100 for this with the issues that I've discussed with you? And they're not functional issues. The thing works just like it's supposed to, but they are preferences and few minor annoyances that add up to be a big annoyance. I would not want to spend $100 on this with those annoyances. Now, for the $53, hell yeah, buy this thing for $53. Definitely buy this for $53. But if you're going to pay much over 50 bucks, I think there are some better options out there for you. Just look around out there. You'll find some good deals, and you can find up to 200 watt devices for just over the 50 bucks, between the $60 and $80 range. So I do think that there are better options out there. And yes, this is an older product. It came out last year. But whatever, it's been sitting on my shelf. I never got to do the review, so here it is. Here's the review, guys. And like I said, overall, it's a decent device. Does what it says it's supposed to do. Goes up to 150 watts. Does temp control for nickel. But for $100, I would not pay for this. Just because of those annoyances that I mentioned in the pros and cons, I would not spend $100 on this. But all right, folks, that's all I got for you tonight. Dovpo Guardian 1.5 150 watt regulated dual 18650 device. Links will be in the description down below if you want to go check this out for yourself. And if you like social networking, definitely hop on over, check out myvaporium.net. It's a social network made for by vapors. It's got Google Hangouts, it's got DIY e-liquid recipe sections, it's got your hand checks, it's got the instant messenger, it's got everything you could want in a social network platform, but it's for vapors, made by vapors. So definitely hop on over, check that out, myvaporium.net, and see what you've been missing. All right, folks, that's all I got for you tonight. If you like what you saw, definitely give it a thumbs up or a like down below. You can also click this little button over here if you're on a computer. I just found out this doesn't work on mobile either, but there is a little button over here if you're on a computer or a laptop that says Vaporwood. You can click that, get subscribed up, stay up to date with the videos and the giveaways when I post them. If you are on a mobile device, you're going to have to scroll down just under the video by the description box there. There's a subscribe button. Click that. Like I said, get subscribed up, stay up to date, stay in the know. And as always, guys, keep chasing those clouds, my friends. Live long and vapor.